How does confusion arise with regard to the witness? Suppose you are the witness to a particular thought. A little later, you remember that thought and you say you had that thought some time ago, assuming thereby that you were the thinker when the first thought occurred, though you were then really the witness of that thought. This unwarranted change in your relationship with a particular thought, from when the thought occurs to when you remember it, is alone responsible for the whole confusion with regard to the witness. When you seem to remember a past thought, it is really a fresh thought by itself, and it has no direct relationship with the old one. Even when you are remembering, you are the witness to that thought of remembrance. So you never change the role of your witnesshood, however much your activities may change. You are asked to do deliberately what you are doing unknowingly now. Take note of the fact that you are already and always the witness. Remembrance is the faculty which makes life appear a connected whole. Remembrance means knowing first and recalling afterwards, without considering that the agents are different. Knowing belongs to the witness, and remembrance belongs to the mind. The two activities take place in two different planes. But knowing is strictly not an activity. For usually all activities of body, senses, and mind are attributed to the I, the background. But really, the I can never be involved in all of this. This false identification is the root of all trouble and misery. If you can in any way cease to continue this false identification, you are saved. To do this, the witness aspect is brought forward. The witness is always silent and changeless. Objects or activities are not emphasized at all in the witness aspect. The witness is unconcerned and can never be brought out for evidence regarding facts. When you stand as the witness, you see that the things witnessed are not in the witness. So you transcend all duality. And thus, standing as the witness, being all alone, you stand as the Absolute itself. The witnessing is superimposed on reality, but this does not injure you. What is the position of the witness, and how am I to practice or exercise the witness process? The mind perceives objects, both gross or subtle. The witness perceives the mind perceiving objects. The witness is the intermediary between the real I principle and the apparent I principle. The witness has no body, and so it has no outside. It has no mind, and so it has no inside either. So the witness is always subjective, and the witnessed are all inside, meaning inside the mind, and not outside in the externals. Everything past remains only as thought forms. The thought forms are cognized only by the witness. Therefore, whenever any statement is made relating to the past, it means you were the witness. And if you say you had no mental activity, you were the witness to that absence also. In the exercise of the witness, you are not examining the witnessed at all. You are only eliminating, by the use of discriminatory logic or inquiry, that is, the known witnessed, including body, senses, and mind, from the knower or witness. The knower is further proved to be nothing but knowingness or pure consciousness, the real self. Thus, you rise gradually from the ego to the witness, and you find that you are the Absolute itself. After a visualization of truth, conceding the existence of the world, the same inquiry or exercise can be done in an improved form for the purpose of getting established in the truth. You may begin by thinking that you are the witness as already known, but this thought does not continue as a thought. Because the witness being absent, the witness refuses to be objectified. And thus you stand as the disinterested witness, which you know to be nothing other than the Absolute, Atman, the Self. This perspective enables one to continue worldly activities effectively and disinterestedly. So who then sees? Not you, but the seer or perceiver. The perceiver alone perceives. Each perceiver that perceives is different from every other perceiver as a perceiver. But you say you saw the same form as you did yesterday. Both the perceiver of yesterday and the perceiver of today saw only the particular form before each of them. They were both ignorant of what the other perceived. But there was some other principle that perceived the sameness of the two forms. It was not either of the former perceivers of form, and that principle that perceived the sameness did not perceive the form. Well, how then to transcend the wrong groove of thought? When the how disappears. Well, why am I not able to experience the truth when I am away from you as deeply as when I am in your presence? Because you give room to that unwarranted sense of awayness. You mistake the guru to be the body and think him away or near. But he is never the body, but Atma itself, and as such knows no nearness or awayness. Be convinced of this truth, and your sense of awayness will disappear, and your experience will become steady. Work. What is human effort? Human effort consists in creating bondage for oneself clinging fast to it, and wanting to become free without giving up the bondage itself. Is work a hindrance to spirituality? Not always. It is a hindrance if the ego is present. It is a help if the ego is absent. Work for work's sake should be our goal. Work will be more successful in the absence of the ego than when it is guided by it. Because in the absence of the ego, all your energy is available for the work alone. When the ego is present, part of this energy is usurped by it for its own maintenance. Well, since happiness is my real nature, does not work suffer or for lack of incentive? No. The question touches the absolute, and therefore you should not expect an answer from the intellectual level. The answer can only be from the level of experience. Your work will become objectless, and something other than happiness will take the place of the incentive. The work will continue to be done perfectly, even to the minutest detail, unknown to the mind. And in all such work, you will enjoy yourself. You see, to the ordinary man, the fruit of action provides the incentive to work. The fruit of action is desired simply because it is supposed to give you pleasure. And pleasure is liked for your own sake and not for the sake of pleasure. Your real nature has already been proved to be peace and happiness, which are the source of pleasure. Therefore, the ultimate incentive for any work is to touch your real nature of happiness. The ordinary man does not know this truth and considers pleasure as something different from him, though he stands in need of some incentive to make the effort to reach it. But the sage knows well that this peace or happiness is his own nature and needs no incentive nor any effort to reach it, since it is already reached and established so far as the sage is concerned. In a similar way, an incentive for action is required only by those in the realm of duality. The sage, having transcended duality, does not recognize actions to be real at all, much less the incentives for them. If ever he appears to do anything, those actions come up spontaneously, and he never takes a thought about it afterwards.